Wrestling Wednesdays. We're going to release it on a Thursday. We're shooting it on a Wednesday night. Doing something a little bit different this week. We're going to have a couple guests as well. I mean, it's going to look a little crowded, but we have the normals, Clell and Dustin, LeGrand head coach and EOU head coach. But we also brought in a couple wrestlers this week. Zach Morris is a senior at EOU. And then Kai Carson's two-time defending state champion at LeGrand. And we're going to just talk a little bit of wrestling. We're going to get an update about their teams first, and then we're going to just talk about some things that are going on in wrestling and have just a conversation. We'll start with EOU with Dustin. Missouri Valley Invite this last weekend. We placed 20th. We're ranked number 18. What'd you think? Give me your synopsis of that tournament.
Always a tough tournament going there. Good competition. That's why we go and attack that tournament. Overall, I think that we competed well. We fixed some things that we needed to work on. I think that we need to continue to just get better. Really, I mean, that's what this sport's about, is every day getting better. We only had one placer this year, Kyle Knudsen. We had other guys that were close, and we're in every match. And so that's what it's about, is getting in there and figuring out what we need to do when we meet them over at the national tournament. We won't see a lot of those guys until the national tournament. So that's our plan, is just continue growing, getting better, and keep moving on. This week we've got Corbin on Sunday. That'll be a fun duel. They're coming on strong, actually. They're coming on pretty good. They've been building the last few years. They've got a few solid kids, and we'll have some fun matchups there. And then a little bit of cross-state rivalry the following week. We'll get a matchup against Southern Oregon for the wagon wheel again, and try to go get that sucker back.
One of the things we're going to talk about too is just recently, Kai Carson signed to become a Mountie, along with his brother Braden, and it's kind of that pipeline, you know, like it's what we kind of envisioned here. We've talked about it a lot, you know, like the quality wrestlers coming out of LeGrand signing at EOU. You had Josh Collins, Parker Robinson, Braden, and now Kai. Did I miss anybody?
That's what we got right now.
I think, yeah. So talk about that a little bit, Dustin.
Yeah, it was exciting. I found out actually right before Christmas, so it was a good early Christmas present. Kai gave me a holler when we got back from Reno, and said he was ready to go. We had a few talks here before that, and I said that's kind of like where I would like to see him sign around that date. And we didn't really communicate much in between that, just letting him go off and wrestle and do his thing, and he kind of threw it on me with a surprise there. And it's exciting. We're excited to get the little cat into the room. So,
Kai, what did you have it narrowed down to? EOU and what other schools?
Well, the Corbin coach was talking to me for a little while, and then the North Idaho guy also were kind of the two that were kind of reaching out to talk to me, but I always figured I was going to go to Eastern. I'm just comfortable there. I like everybody there, and excited to get after it.
What was the determining factor?
I love Dustin, and I love the team that's already there, and I know their work ethic, and they all have similar goals, and I wrestled with these guys, and I know that I'd fit in well, and it's hard work over there, and I just love it. Love the atmosphere.
I would almost feel like it would be like kind of a waste of a time for Corbin to be reaching out to you, like EOU's in your backyard. You know?
Yeah, he made that joke a lot.
Did he?
He was talking to Josh too. He started talking to me in junior year, and he was talking to Josh last year too. And I remember Mason and Bryson were with us, and he was like, you know, if you're from LeGrand, you don't always have to go to Eastern. Like, you can go other places too. So, yeah.
It's having a quality coach at Eastern is a huge advantage for Eastern, obviously. And then your brother going there, I mean, I would have, if I had to bet, I would have said 100%. I mean, you're going there. There's no doubt about it. Clell, let's talk about LeGrand, right where we're at right now with LeGrand. We just got back from the Skyview duels, and then we're moving into the Research this weekend. How are things looking?
I'm really excited. You know, Research tournament is just always a blast, right? It's like Marty Reeser has done an amazing job building that tournament and just making it a showcase. Oregon State's going to have a duel there on Friday night. They're going to wrestle after we get done on Friday, and so it's just going to be a great event for wrestling. And he's tried to get to where he invites all the top teams at all the different levels, and from 2A all the way through 6A, and so yeah, it's going to be really fun to compete against everybody like always, and just looking forward to it. Yeah.
Is there 2A teams there?
Yeah.
There is.
Culver will be there for sure, and sometimes I think this year
I have
maybe
the list
Illinois
right here.
Valley. I think they're all over there.
Who are they dueling, Chloe?
Yeah, Culver is on the list.
Man, who is it that they're dueling? I'm not sure. I saw that today real briefly, but got an email about it. But yeah, I'm not sure who the duel is, but I know Oregon State, but I'm not sure who they're going against Friday night. But
So the difference between this and say the Classic is this is a tournament. This is not a dual tournament. This is like one person's going to win each weight. So you arguably, if you win this tournament, you're the best wrestler in that weight in the state. I mean, you have the best teams.
yeah, a lot of people say that, and I would agree. For it's as close as you can get, I think, to per se like a California state title or something like that, where they put all the teams together and you get to wrestle against the toughest 6A, 5A, 4A. There are, of course, individuals out there that their team is just not going to the research tournament that could be the toughest guy in the state,
Right.
And that happens at times. But yeah, it's a real good look, and it gives you. I mean, the weight classes will be every weight's always real competitive and great wrestling. It's just a great atmosphere. It's just a good. Marty really does a nice job of creating an atmosphere that sells wrestling, and he's created that whole thing and all those people part of the research tournament.
So, but team-wise, if you win the research tournament, you're the best team in the state.
Yeah, it's a good deal with that. Although last year is kind of interesting. So last year we finished third, and we were like maybe a half a point or like I don't know behind West Lynn, who was second. I think it was like a half point. It was kind of crazy. And Newburgh won the tournament, but then at the 6A level last year, West Lynn won the tournament. We won the 4A, and so it's kind of So it kind of depends on the rest of the state too. When you put everybody together, how matchups go, and all the things that go into it. So it's not totally that way, but it is kind of It is. Most of the time, the team that wins it, I would say that they generally win their division at the state tournament. Most of the time.
So when we're talking about the 4A level right now, LeGrand in the coaches poll is sitting at number 3. Is that a fair?
I think so. I think that I think we're. I was just talking to the team about that tonight a little bit there, and we spent a lot of time. I kind of like being the underdogs. It's actually a little more fun. I enjoy those seasons a little bit more, and I tell we're definitely like we're in the race. You know what I mean? Like, but and I always tell people, hey, once you're in the race, you never know what's going to happen. And that horse can go around the corner and fall down, and hey, you're just in the right place at the right time, and I think we're in the race, and I think things can happen, and kids can perform at different times, and beat people they're not supposed to beat, and all this kind of thing. That's what makes it fun, and we're definitely the underdog this year, though. I would say we're definitely the underdog, but I don't necessarily mind that. It's kind of fun sometimes to be that team that you're not supposed to win, but or that kid that's not supposed to win, or those are my favorite times, maybe.
How many guys do you think we need to qualify to make a run?
I don't know. If it's so much this year, maybe. I mean, of course, as many as possible. Last year I think we qualified maybe 15 guys, so we weren't real. 14 maybe even. And
which is not real deep.
No, but 11 of them placed in the top 3, and so that was added a lot of points, and a lot of guys placed. I mean, most all so. If we get the right guys, it's kind of, I don't know, it's, on a great day, I believe we can take quite a few, but I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Zach Morris, he's EOU senior 125-pounder. He's wrestled in that tournament. What's your best memory from research? You wrestled at Crook County, right?
Yeah, from Kirk County High School, so Prineville, Oregon. I think my best looking back at research was when we won it as a team, I want to say, no, that wasn't the year that I made the finals there one year. And that was a good time, the way they do everything. And they make a big deal out of that tournament. Being in the top finisher of that tournament is a big deal for everyone. And not only just the team aspect of it when you win as a team, but being in that atmosphere and the situation of in the finals and having all those people watching you and talking to you, it's It's cool. It's fun.
What about you, Kai? What's your best memory of Reese's?
It's kind of my best and worst memory. Last year, I made the finals, and like Zach, but then I ended up losing. But like he was saying, it's a great atmosphere, and like just being in the finals, a lot of people go around and want to talk to you, and it's super cool. And being out there with all the other finalists in the tunnel, they make a huge big deal out of it. They got the light showing down on a spotlight. You run out on the mat and smoke. It's super cool. So that was pretty cool. But so I ended up losing that match, but I get. Hopefully that kid's in the bracket that I'm in this year, so I get to wrestle him.
Oh, so he was he's your same age? Or
No,
younger?
he's younger than me.
He's younger.
Yeah, no, he was a freshman last year. So.
Where's he from?
Newburgh.
Newburgh. Okay, so 6A school. Dustin, have you ever been to Reese's?
I haven't. No.
You're always right in the
We
middle
usually
of
have
the
something
season.
going on. Yeah, there's always a tournament, a duel, something going on that weekend.
Yeah. For EOU this year, like realistically, what are we looking at? Like top 10 is the goal? Is that?
We want a trophy.
Trophy? So top.
That's I think that's still within reach with the guys. We just gotta get out there and keep getting better. Like I said, the bottom line is we got to get out there and compete hard. We got the people to do it. We just got to continue just grinding forward each day and do what we can with the day that we have in front of us. And if we keep doing that, we have some guys that can contend for a national title. We have some guys that can contend to be All-Americans. And we have some guys that can even get to the national tournament and go deep into the tournament. Maybe not All-American, but if they get some wins knocked off there, that's helping the team as well. But I think we're going to need probably eight guys probably to pull that off.
8 guys.
Yeah.
8 out of 12.
Yep.
Because 12 is what qualifies. One of the things at school is conference, the Cascade Collegiate Conference, the tournament's here this year.
It is, yeah. It's going to
When
be a
is
good
that?
time. That's the 16th and 17th.
Awesome.
Of February.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hosted. What is this? Is this your first time hosting a tournament as a head coach?
No, we have our tournament that we host, just our Mountaineer Open.
No, I mean a
But
conference.
for our
tournament.
conference
Yeah,
tournament,
yeah.
yeah. It'll be our first time hosting a conference tournament. It'll be fun. We'll have 11 teams there. Out of those 11 teams, 6 of them are in the top 20, so it'll be a battle.
I think Corbin's kind of the sleeper in that group.
They
I
are.
really do.
They are.
They're not ranked, right?
Nope, they're not ranked right now.
They're not one of those 6 teams, but I feel like they're making some moves.
They are. They're making some moves. I said they're a solid team. They've got up and down the lineup. Coach Harris has done a great job, just kind of slowly building it the last few years. He came in. I think this is his 2nd year as the head coach, but he was there 2 years prior, so I think this is his 4th year in there. But he's done a great job just recruiting, getting people in. Like I said, just recruiting right out of our back door here, trying to get Kai and Collins over. And so he's doing a good job with recruiting, and I think he's a great coach as well.
Is there like a code of conduct when it comes to recruiting? Talk about that a little bit. Like is it cool for like Corbin to be coming and talking to guys that brother wrestles for you, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is there like a unspoken rule about that?
No, I like it. It's good to get them out there, and I think that you need to go and experience whatever you can. Like if Kai was to go over and on a visit, I think that he would have came to us anyway. And I truly believe that when recruiting people, you got to have some confidence in it and know that you're the best place, and you know that you got to have the best fit for the person. And that's why we're recruiting them, because we think that they're going to be a good fit within the program. It's not we're just recruiting them because it's Braden's brother.
Yeah.
It's because we know he's going to come in and he's going to fit the program and he's going to do the right things and going to help contend for a national title soon. It's not just about who the kid is, and I don't know. A lot of different things go into it.
So from the outside looking in, as a fan and as a media person, I get it. Like, I get kids wanting to leave their hometown, but nothing pisses me off more than when somebody swipes one of our people. Like, and it happens. It does. Like, C of I has swiped a few of our people in other sports, and I'm just like sitting there like I try to like remember that not everybody wants to stay where they grew up. They want to get out and experience something different. Zach, let's talk to you. What was your recruiting process like?
It wasn't that intensive. So I only got recruited really by one school, and it was Heidelberg University over in Tiffin, Ohio. and we had one of our alumni, our Kirk County alumni, wrestled there. And me and him were real good buddies growing up. So he kind of talked to his coach, got us on the radar, and just talked to him. I ended up going on a visit down there, and that was my first visit, was over there, and it was a fun time. Like, it was a good hanging out with the guys down there. The football atmosphere there was crazy over in Ohio. It's a lot different than like the school is here. And then ended up coming down to, I really didn't want to go that far. And truth be told, at the time, I had a girlfriend. I wanted to stay close to home. So that played a huge factor. But ended up, me and Kyle Knudsen, another one of our guys here, we were reaching out to Azure, actually, and he never talked to me again. Like, never talked to me back and never would do anything. So we ended up going down to that Mike Clock tournament in high school, that college open down there, and wrestling in it. And I ended up getting second there, and I think Kyle got third or fourth or something at that one. And then ended up talking to Azure over there saying, hey, you know, like, I'm interested. And next thing you know, like, I think it was a week later, I was on a visit, and then, November, December time, I think it was middle of December I signed. So it was all
at the Reno tournament.
Yeah, Reno TOC I signed with them. So it was all kind of like a month and a half, 2-month window of being open to recruiting and trips and making my decision.
Yeah. There's so many good athletes now that recruiting has changed a lot. Like from when I was a kid, one of the things that I've noticed is coaches don't reach out to athletes near as much as they. I mean, you look at Kai. He's a perfect example. He said he had NIC, Corbin, and EOU recruiting him.
Yeah.
He's a 2-time state champion.
Yeah.
Like, Chloe, you talk about that. What about, like, as a head coach of a high school team, how often are coaches reaching out to you?
They don't, like, it's not like they call all the time or something, but I do see coaches at tournaments, and I mean, having Dustin here, I mean, we're talking all the time, but, you do kind of come in contact with coaches, but I think a kid now really has to, like, advocate for themselves, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They have to, if they're interested in a school because of, I think anyways, because of what the school offers for schooling, right? Like, if they want to be a, PA like Kai does, or, so Eastern, maybe fits him pretty well, and you know what I mean? So then you got to reach out to that college and, like, I want to go to school there and I want to wrestle for you. And then I think from there, like, you kind of get on their radar, you know what I mean? And you got to kind of promote yourself. And so, like, for my kids, I ask them, like, you want to wrestle in college? Is something you want to do? And, a couple of our seniors this year, I think, are wrestling, interested in it. And so, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And we've had conversations about a couple of them, and just, so, but I think the athlete needs to reach out, or tell their coach that they're interested in, and then the coach can then go from there, I think. And I think all sports are like that, like, hey, I'm interested in going, so,
Yeah, it's a misconception that some, even athletes today have, that, oh, if I'm really good at a sport, these coaches, they're going to call me or they're going to email me. And it's one of the things that I've been telling my son too, because he's a senior in high school. It's like, dude, you got to advocate for yourself. Like, you got to start reaching out. If you want to go somewhere, reach out to the coach. Put an email in. Dustin. How often do you make first contact?
Not very.
Right.
Not very often. Yeah, it's usually word of mouth. Someone will get a hold of me and tell me about someone, and then I start researching into them. Like, what do they want to do? What do they like? Start talking to their coach. Start talking to people that other coaches. Like, have you watched this kid compete? And you got to find people that you can trust too. I can't just go ask a random person.
Right.
Like their best friend, and their best friend's like, oh, he's the best
Yeah,
person in
the
the
best,
world.
yeah.
Yeah. So you got to be kind of pick your battles and know who you're going to go after and talk with to get an eye out there. So it's interesting. It's a lot of different things go into recruiting.
Yeah.
Like what Zach saying about we weren't reaching out to him. We were researching him. We were like not actively calling him.
I never got emailed
that kind of
back
stuff.
either.
Kind of play back on it.
I emailed you plenty.
Play a little hard to get a little bit,
It worked. You got me.
And that has changed. That's changed, because 20 years ago, it wasn't like that as much. 20 years ago, well, social media has changed a lot of things, obviously, but 20 years ago, if you were the stud, you had schools reaching out to you. I mean, I played baseball in high school, and I was good. I mean, I'm not an All-American or anything, but I had a lot of schools contact me. And now You know, like I said, Kai, 2-time state champion, and he's got 3 schools after him, like, and not any big school. You know what I mean? It's weird how that whole landscape has changed over time.
It's tough with scholarships and things as well. You know, that's another thing that plays a factor in it. I don't want to reach out to someone if I don't have any money for him.
Right.
And if my weight's already filled at this certain weight class, like, do I really need to call this kid and then take a chance and get scholarship money, pull it from a different weight class into this weight class? Like, what's the right protocol to take there? You know, like, it's tough to try to load up your weight classes the way you want them loaded up, and it's a lot of different things go into that. Yeah, with the money stuff.
Has that ever been an issue for you at a weight? Like, have you ever had a person already at a weight class and saw a dude that you knew would be a better fit at that weight and had to replace them?
Trying to think into that.
That's got to be hard.
Not really. I mean, we haven't had that happen quite yet. Well, I guess with Kai, if he ends up sticking at 33.
That's where his brother
Wrestle Braden. Yeah. Kick Braden to the curb.
He's gonna have to lose.
So we're gonna have to
lose
get
a
rid
little
of
weight.
Braden and.
Well, Zach, talk about that a little bit for you, because you wrestle 125, right? Which, I mean, we have the number 2 ranked wrestler in the country at 125. What's that like? Like, is it beneficial for you to wrestle with him? I mean, obviously it is.
So it is, like, I know wrestling him and whatever, like, he's ranked different spots in different ranking systems. Like, he's number 1 in a couple and number 3 in some, and then he might be 2 in another. But we all know he's going to go win a national title this year. Like, he's good and he's put in the work and he's got the motivation and the drive to go win a national title this year. And so me knowing, like, I'm not going to wrestle anybody ever that's going to be better than him. Like, in AIA, I'm not going to wrestle anyone that's better than him. So when you do get those little scores in practice, or you get those escapes, or you do get that 30-second ride, like, those are little wins that you can carry over into, like, hey, I just got away from the number 1 guy in the nation, you know? And it may be once a practice, but, you know, you still got away that one time. And it's still those little wins that you can go and compile. And he's just so knowledgeable about the sport. I mean, there's reasons that he's that good and ranked that high and has had the success that he has. It's just, he's so knowledgeable and picking his brain about situations, whether it's on your feet, on the mat, like, either way it is, he's just so knowledgeable and can provide such good insight for it that it's beneficial to all of his partners and the team as a whole, because he helps everyone, not just the guys he wrestles.
Right.
So it's big.
This is your last year. This is your senior year.
Yeah, I'm done this year.
Your goal has to be a national championship, though.
My goal...
It has to be.
Yeah, and my goal for the last 4 years has been an All-American.
Okay.
Like, if I can All-American, that'll be great. That's something I haven't done. I've only qualified for nationals once, and I want to have a goal that's going to push me a little bit further and that's still attainable, but I still going to have to bust my butt to get there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, All-American's where I've got it set, and if national title falls in my lap, it falls in my lap, but I'm just going to go and wrestle, really.
What about when it comes to you wrestling, Hunter? So you look at that as kind of motivation, but it's also you have to have that in the back of your head. You want to beat him. It has to be.
So me and Hunter. So we're both from Oregon. I wanted to beat Hunter since I was 4 years old wrestling. Yeah. I've never beat Hunter in a wrestling match, and we wrestled several times through growing up. And we were just talking about that Reno tournament, that Reno TRC where I committed. He was, I think, my second match there my freshman year, and he just smoked me.
That's a tough draw.
Yeah, and I think it was his senior year, and he just kicked my butt. But, I mean, I've always looked up to Hunter. When Kirk County and Roseburg, they're a great, like, partnership, and great. They have a big rivalry, a friendly rivalry between each other. And so I've known Hunter since I was just started wrestling. And so I've always wanted to beat him. So, yeah, it's in the back of my mind.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, it's fun, though. It's a good goal to chase.
And so you're talking All-American, and then your team goal is probably just about the same.
It's the same trophy.
Yeah, we want
a trophy.
Mm-hmm. And would that be the first time ever for EOU to trophy?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever brought.
Yeah, I think actually.
Definitely since reinstallment.
Yeah, definitely since reinstallment. I I don't know what they placed, like the highest they placed at the national tournament.
And we've never had a national champion either.
We've had national champions.
We have?
Before reinstating. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not since I've been here, but they've had like 2, I believe. Woodward, Schimmel. I think those are the 2.
And we have a
Maybe 3.
legitimate
Holiday?
shot
Chuck,
at
yeah,
having.
Chuck was
Holiday.
second. Yeah.
We have a legitimate shot at having 1 or 2 this year, I think.
Yeah,
honestly.
we do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, I think Kyle's wrestling as good as he's wrestled his whole career. Mm-hmm. I really do. And
Yeah, Kyle's wrestling well right now. We got to, again, get better. We got to pull some things together. Little mistakes. And at this level, that's what it comes down to, just fine-tuning. Just an inch off to the right or the left, like you miss a shot completely, and they're taking you down and scoring on things. They're going turning to the left or turning to the right. Like it's a game of inches. You just got to know when to do it and have that awareness. And there's some luck that comes in there as well, because it's such a long season that we got to stay healthy throughout the season. And so that little piece comes into play as well. And so we just got to kind of keep chipping away, and a lot of communication. There's a lot of communication going on between us, like all the way across the board from 25 to heavyweight, and just talk every day. What's going on? How's your body feeling? How's your mind feeling? Do we need a break? Do we need to go more? What do we need? Because everyone's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And right now it's kind of about being selfish, but also working towards your goal and the team goal.
Yeah, one of the biggest things in wrestling is staying healthy. My son wrestles too. We've talked about that. He deals with bursitis all the time in his knee, and it's like you got to kind of choose if you're gonna take a chance at these tournaments or at these duels, or you're gonna wait. You know what I mean? It's like you're kind of tipping the scales back and forth, trying to figure out. Kai, you've dealt with an injury this year. You've only wrestled about maybe 10 matches. Right around there?
Something like that, yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. What's been the challenge of that?
Just getting back in shape. Not wrestling for 6 months or not doing anything with your upper body it's tough. I didn't think it was going to be as difficult as it was coming back, but I definitely could tell, like in certain situations I would where I could muscle in and do something I couldn't on people, and then just my conditioning and cardio getting there. But it's coming back, and now I feel like I'm getting to the point where it's pretty much almost back to normal, just working on my strength now.
Was it an injury that you sustained in wrestling, or was it outside of wrestling?
Yeah, it was wrestling. It was my state finals match. I got kind of in a funky, big, long scramble, and then ended up dislocating my shoulder, and then he put in a front quarter on me, and he hipped into me, and he set it back for me. So I was like, oh, okay, we're good now. and I wrestled the rest of the match, and then afterwards, I was like, man, that kind of hurts. I was like, that's probably normal, because at Tri-State I dislocated my ribs, and then as I was walking up the stairs, they went back in, and then it was fine, and nothing was everything. So I was like, no, it's probably the same thing. And then I remember Braden the next day called me, and I went over to the college and started drilling with him. And then I was like, oh man, it hurts pretty bad. And so then I went all the way into baseball season, and then I went out and grabbed the ball, and I threw it like that, and it went 10 feet, and it hurt real bad. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So went and got an MRI, tore my labrum or whatever pretty bad, and then I played the rest of baseball, because my team, we had just a chance at winning state title. So my team needed me and wanted me to be there, so I played second base and as well as I could, and I ended up tearing the rest of it, so then I had to get surgery after that.
If I remember right, somebody else in your family had a very similar injury and threw a ball like this in games for almost the whole season, right? Didn't Braden have a shoulder injury?
Yeah, Braden not his throwing arm, though. That was his glove arm.
His glove arm?
Yeah. He still has, well, I don't know if he ever talks about it, probably not, ever, but he still has.
We need to cut that out of the program. We don't want to disclose that.
Yeah, we don't want.
Yeah, let's cut on this.
Zach, have you ever had a
Braden's
major
fine.
injury in your career?
Yeah, actually, I've suffered from a couple injuries.
What?
So, I guess we'll go recent career. It's a shorter list. My freshman year here, I ended up dislocating my knee and tore my MPFL, MCL, and my meniscus. And so I got that fixed.
Just blew the whole thing out.
Yeah, so I went in there, got that fixed, and in order to fix it and retract my knee right, they actually had to go in and break my shin and then reset it and screw it back straight to where they needed to. So I got screws and wires all up and down my leg now. And then it was, what was it? I got cleared for like 2 weeks. And then me and our coach now, we were running a camp. And I was wrestling with one of the kids there and did the same thing to my left knee. And so I never got it fixed, and I've been wrestling with it for a while now, and it's fine, it's better. And then, yeah, this season recently, I ended up breaking my hand this season, so.
Chloe, you've
couple.
coached other sports outside of wrestling. Is wrestling the toughest physically on your body? You think it's tougher than, like, say, football?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
I agree.
you know, hey, yeah, football players come into wrestling, and you know, it's just, you know, you just, yeah, it's so tough. Wrestling's so tough, but that's what makes it so great, though, too. You know, it's like one of those things that, you know, if you can survive it and get through it, it really changes you. You know, I always say, like, you have a little bit of something different that other people don't have. You know what I mean? You just can find ways to make things happen and get things to happen, and you know, that's what makes it great. But it is hard, you know, for sure.
Kind of like dog ears on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they both are different kind of tough, right? Football and wrestling. We were actually having this conversation with Parker after the weekend of wrestling, and football is more like the boom, bruising. Hit you and it'll bruise you, and that's impact sore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, sore here, sore there. But wrestling,
Contortion sore.
after a full day of wrestling and even 2-day wrestling, like your whole body, your neck, your shoulders, your legs, your hips, your knees, your joints, like your fingers even, just from jamming them from wrestling and squeezing onto things, like everything is sore when you're wrestling at a tough tournament, especially at this caliber.
Yeah, because I know at the high school level you can have up to 10 matches in a day, right? Is that
6.
Oh, is it 6 at high school?
Yeah.
But 10 in a weekend.
Yeah, I think so. We don't really go over that too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wrestled more than 10 in a weekend.
No, because you usually, if you're, especially at a dual tournament, you have a couple guys. You know, if you know you're going to beat a team, you can slip in the JV guy, you know, at 133 or whatever, right? What about the refs? How good of a job do they do paying attention to like, you know, the what's it called when you put somebody in a weird position?
Potentially dangerous.
Potentially, dangerous position. How good of a job do they do in the GOL, and let's talk about in the CCC as well?
Depends what coach is in your corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, does it really?
Well, so a lot of coaches, like refs, are pretty focused on like the wrestling aspect of it and like scoring points. Trying to pay attention to everything, right? And ref in a couple matches, like I'm guilty of it too. Like you don't always recognize, well, that's a little against the joint, or that knee's coming outside the fulcrum there pretty far. And like the coaches, they say, hey, watch his knee. Then the ref's like, oh, there is a knee there. Like, okay, we're gonna call potentially, restart it. So it's really, and some of them are really good at it, and then others. So you know, you got your refs that are different levels and done it for different times. So I mean, most of them are decent with it, but there's some.
They let you get away with a lot more in
Yeah.
college too. Like they let you torque on some things a little bit longer than in high school and be a little bit more physical. And so it's just the different levels. But I think for the most part, they're there to protect the athletes, right? And so I think they try to do it. Just sometimes it's hard to see. Like Zach was saying, like you get caught up in the moment of the match, and you're trying to make sure that you don't make the wrong call, so you don't have Clell screaming and throwing stuff at you. But then it comes down to like they're tweaking something the wrong way, or they're choking the kid, and you don't see it. And so those things.
Wrestling's definitely a sport too where judgment comes in on the referee's behalf a lot. I mean, because one ref might call a pin, and one ref might not call that same pin a pin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In football, it's either a first down or it's not. You know, the ball doesn't lie. And wrestling, it's more, you know, there's more, you know, I guess personal choice involved when it comes to the refs. Overall, Chloe, like how are the refs in the GOL? Be honest. I mean.
I think they've done, you know, the refs that we have here have done it for a long time. You know, we actually talked this year about, you know, and I think we did get quite a few younger people in there. I know Doug Hislop's our commissioner, and he's done it for a long time, you know, and the dedication he's put into that is something, you know, really. And, you know, we have some refs that have been with us for a long time, and I do feel like they've improved over time and become better, and the refs that we have. And then there was a couple of those young guys that like worked at Meilenberg this year that went through that class. And I don't know if it was Hissel that taught the class or Dustin or who did, but they certified a bunch of younger people, and so just getting experience. It's good to get people in. It's really difficult to find refs. It's
every sport.
Yeah, it's just
I wouldn't want to
hard.
get hollered at every weekend.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's thankless.
I have a lot of respect for for the refs,
yeah.
but I think we
yeah,
do
it's
need a lot more younger refs, especially people that have been wrestling in college. They know the sport, they're living the sport. Like, it's easier
The
for
whole
them
community of
to
people here.
anticipate moves that are going to happen, and they happen fast. But if you can anticipate it, you can stop something a little bit earlier, or you can anticipate jump into that near fall a little bit earlier. Just different things like that, I think, would help officiating.
Yeah.
And even at the college level, there's some guys that have just been there for a long time that can probably take a rest now if we can get some more younger guys to jump in.
That's a problem in this valley for sure, is all the refs in all sports, and I don't want to say all, but the majority of refs in all sports are old. And we're having trouble finding young guys to step up. You know what I mean? You go to a baseball game, you see Floyd out there. He's been umpiring for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's time, and they've come to me. The actual our football refs for our area have come to me and said, "Hey, help us find some younger guys. Like, we got guys that are 70 out there reffing." That's got to be.
Doug's been a great advocate of that. He's been coming into our program, and we send guys out to even officiate football as well. And so he's been picking and choosing from our guys, and then we send them over on a weekend. They go make a few bucks here and there from officiating some middle school games, or I don't know if they've done any high school games yet, but a lot of middle school games they've been doing. And then, like you were saying, I've got a coaching and officiating class, and so I've brought Doug in to do the rules interpretation with them and talk with them, and then he kind of lines them up after the class is done, make sure they're certified, and it's been getting them out there.
Is that a college class, or is
It is, yeah, it's a college course,
class for
yes.
college credit?
Yep.
So elective.
It's an elective, yeah.
Wow.
It's a 3-credit class.
And then does that actually give you enough information to certify, like in Oregon, to be a high school rep?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, I love that. I did not know they were doing that.
This is our second year? This is our second year doing it.
Why aren't they doing that with every sport?
I don't think they're getting them certified, but they do have the coaching and officiating classes.
Do they?
They're just not getting them certified. But I figured, why not? We've got Doug here in town, and Doug's awesome with it. So
I've made numerous phone calls to Coach Camp, especially. Like, the guys will contact me and say, "Hey, we need somebody to work, chain gain or whatever," and I say, "Oh, hey, your guys need community service. Ship them." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because that's another thing at EOU. I know the coaches expect their athletes to do a certain amount of community service every year. What's your policy?
it's supposed to be 20 hours, but we are way above that.
Yeah.
We were number 2 in the nation last 2 years ago for the most community service in the nation. So we get out there, we work a lot, just from our MWA camp. It's kind of a fundraiser for us, but our guys are devoting their own time to get in and work those things, and then again, helping out, send them different places, little camps here and there. Or what else do we do, Zach? Zach, you've been part of a ton of it.
Oh, yeah. We do a lot. Anywhere from, there's basket hangings and just setting up, helping the community out, or family needs moved. There's no way to move faster than get a wrestling team to, load your stuff up. It's done in half a day.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot in that aspect of it. We do a lot of our reffing is community service. So a lot of those all-day tournaments that we do is a lot of our community service hours for the younger kids, Mat Club age kids.
Yeah.
So,
giving back to the kids is always. That should be a number one priority to keep the sport alive. Let's switch lanes a little bit here. Does everybody here pay fairly good attention to NCAA wrestling, like D1?
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for you. Who's going to win the 125-pound weight class?
we can't be that's loaded.
Dustin, give me your take.
Oh.
But it's got to be the toughest weight class in the country.
It is. It just juggles every
stacked.
weekend.
Yeah.
Oh.
gonna draw.
I'm gonna defer that and throw it to our
All right,
125 pounder.
Yeah. Drake Ayala.
Yeah?
He's
Yeah,
doing it.
really.
You think
Yeah.
he's better than Ramos, huh? He's gonna beat
I
him?
mean, Ramos got a good throw. No,
He's
they're not.
dangerous.
He's
He's
good.
good.
He's a very, very good wrestler. But Drake, man, he's just tough.
What
he's
about you,
dirty.
Kai? That's about your.
I have no idea. I don't know anybody's names. I just like to watch them. The Virginia Tech guy, I know, has been doing pretty well.
Tell
But
his name
yeah.
off the top of my head.
Oh, man.
It's just kind of fun to watch because I brought it up because it's your weight too.
Yeah, no, it's a
125
fun way to
pound
watch.
weight.
You can't keep, and it's unpredictable.
It's crazy.
They-
What about LeGrand wrestling? Like, has anything changed with the amount of people coming to wrestling since COVID? Or is it still just pretty standard? We fill that gym up.
Yeah, I think. I think it's. I don't know. We had a ton of people at the Meilenberg this year. Like we had a lot. That was probably my favorite Meilenberg finals. I felt like that place was really packed this year, and every weight class was really all the way through, from little guys all the way to heavyweight. Right? Just really good matches, and that gym was loud. I mean, it was pretty loud. During the Meilenberg. So. I don't know. That was one of the better crowds we've had, I think, in a really long time. And I don't know. I think people actually right after COVID, like it seemed like people were really wanting to get out. Like I remember we did our steak feed like right after people. That was like the first event in town where people could get in and do a social, and it was like there was hundreds of people that came out after that. I just think of that, but.
Well, even last night with a girls duel, there was a lot of people at the girls duel last night.
There were a lot
just
of
as much as about it at our college duel. There was a lot of people out.
Yeah, we talked about girls wrestling a little bit on the last show with the whole double dipping thing, and let's get Zach and Kai's opinion on that. What do you think? So one of the questions I like to ask, because I'm a huge fan of girls wrestling, but I'm not a huge fan of girls wrestling boys. Do you think girls should be able to double dip and wrestle in their tournament and then turn around and wrestle in the boys' tournament too?
So, I guess my perspective is, I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had a lot of experience with wrestling a girl. I've wrestled, I think, 2 girls my whole life, and I may have been 6 years old. Like you don't know anything at that age. But the older you get, I think the more separation you should have. But when you get those girls who are just dirty tough, like the competition on the guy's side is so much is higher than on the girl's side, right? And
We're made different.
Yeah, we're built for
biologically
combat,
different.
right? And I think those girls, to get better, they need to wrestle some of the guys, right? To get tougher competition, see the physicality difference in there. And some of those girls step up to the plate and just whip boys. And those girls are dirty tough. But in the same sense, like, I'm probably not going to go out and play on a volleyball court. One, I'm not going to be any good out there.
Right.
But, like, have I been good? Like, I can hit a ball pretty hard. So,
Yeah,
I got both.
For me, it's like, A, we're built different.
Mm-hmm.
B, if we're going to talk about, equality and everybody being equal, then boys don't get to go wrestle in the girls' tournament. You know what I mean? So, and I'm partial. I had to wrestle a girl in 8th grade, and that's why I quit wrestling. So I harbor these inner feelings, But I was always taught, don't put your hands on a girl no matter what.
Yeah, no, I was raised the same way.
And it's a lose-lose. We've talked about that too, Kai. What do you feel? How do you feel about it? Just the double dipping part. Like, should a girl be able to wrestle in her tournament and then turn around and wrestle in the boys' tournament as well?
Well, I kind of see it as like 2 sort of completely different sports. Same scoring and same rules, but I mean, if you like you were talking about, they were just built different in different ways. Like, I remember Bragan, our 106 pounder, was wrestling a girl at Tri-State. It was dirty tough, like Zach was saying, and she's phenomenal. She's the first girl ever to make it Tri-State finals, really good, and so she wrestles in the boys tournaments, but she was wrestling Bragan. I mean, Bragan had an armbar, and he was running it for like 2 full rounds. But I mean, they're just so flexible and like their bodies are different that it's just like 2 completely different styles of wrestling going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like girls wrestling now, like the way it's going and the way it's growing, that the level of competition for them is gonna like match, like proportionally, it's gonna match the boys.
Yeah.
And so at that point, like, I mean, how many girls do we have on our wrestling team? Like 30?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
packed.
30 or
Quite a
something
few,
like
yeah.
that? And
Well,
they're
yeah,
tough.
in
They're
15 years, we won't even have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it won't happen.
Yeah.
But we're still kind of at that, we're right at the verge of it
Yeah.
not happening right now. When I was a kid, though, it was, if a girl wrestled, she only wrestled boys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I only ever saw one girl at a tournament, and it was over in Pendleton, and I had to wrestle her. And I was just like, after that, I was like, no, I'm not, I can't do it.
Clell and I were just he was at the duel last night. We were kind of texting each other across the way, and he was talking about they're getting more physical even.
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to lay the
They're
hammer
mean.
down.
Yeah,
really
like I said,
mean.
in 15 years, we aren't even going to have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's going to be enough girls wrestling that they're, that it's going to be just like boys wrestling. But the transition time is right now, and it's still kind of tough because I see, so-and-so won the girls tournament and got third in the boys tournament. It's like, are we still making boys wrestle girls? Like, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think I'll ever be. I wouldn't want my daughter out there in middle school wrestling a boy. It's an intimate sport. Mm-hmm. B, you teach boys not to put their hands on girls. And C, it's lose-lose. I mean, for the boy. And that's just the reality of it. I mean, you can call it misogynistic or whatever you want. It's not. It's more like it's putting everybody in a crappy situation in my eyes.
Something along those lines. We were just in Missouri this last weekend. It's the first time I went into a gender-neutral bathroom. That was interesting.
Yeah.
I walked into the bathroom. I thought I went to the wrong bathroom, and the girl was in there. And she's like, no, you can use any one of these. Unless I was really in the wrong bathroom, and she was letting me go.
She let me go there, too.
So it was the bathroom you walk in, but they were like full stalls, but like
Partitions.
top to bottom, partitions on each way, like stalls. But
And
all
it
the way
didn't
down.
it didn't have a
There's
lockable door.
There
Like-
was nope, and so it was
Okay.
free to go in, and it kind of split off, but you can go into anyone you wanted to. I thought I went to the wrong one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, naturally, if I walked into a bathroom and there was a girl in there, I would think I was in the wrong one too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. So let's talk about one more thing, and then I'll get you guys out of here. Let's talk a little bit. You guys are both lighter weights, so you guys get to deal with this. Let's talk about cutting weight. What kind of challenges have you faced with cutting weight, Zach? Be honest too.
The mental side of it,
Yeah.
it's like I'm a little guy, I'm a skinny guy, I don't got a lot of like the fat to lose, so what
Right.
I've lost already, the rest is going to be water weight. And then when you get dehydrated and continuously working out and running, like, it just wears on your body, and then it starts wearing on your mind, and then it could be one little thing happens, whether it's you forgot to plug your phone in that night, or you turned your TikTok on, it's too loud, that flipped the switch, and now you're angry for the rest of the day.
Just because you're
Like, it's just,
hungry.
it's just you're mentally draining on it. But then it's those little moments right after you're done working out, and you get that couple ounces of water, it's like, oh, now my day's good. Right? Like,
For a
it's
couple
yeah,
ounces of
yeah,
water.
you're just like, oh man, like, look at that. Like, I just got a little bit of water, I got an ice cube, like, oh man. And then you're like, okay, now I can get a little food in me. Right? And then you start feeling better, and then it's kind of just a continuous up and down kind of thing. And you're just yo-yoing your way all the way down to the weight that you need to be at. And it's mentally draining, I think, on me it is anyways. And I'm not the most mentally tough person out there, though.
What about so the weight cut? The mental draining part. But what about when after you make weight? Like, okay, let's make this a two-part question. What's your favorite thing to eat or drink after you've made weight? And then when wrestling season's over and you don't have to worry about weight for a while, what's your go-to?
So right after weigh-ins, my go-to the last two weigh-ins was I make one sandwich. I load it up with a bunch of meat, mayonnaise, mustard, pickles. I put like 3 of the pickle spears on it, and then that's my food until after warm-ups. And then I typically have one of those Avocare rehydrates, like the little powder packs with a bunch of electrolytes in it.
Liquid IV or
Yep.
whatever.
And then have one of those with a bottle of water, and then I try to warm up and have the water through warming up. You still have that leftover cotton mouth that kicks
'cause you
back
have to
in when you
rehydrate,
start.
yeah.
And so you save that second bottle for warm ups and whatnot, and then just the little bit throughout your days is the best way to do it. I mean, it's not always the way it goes, but
And then what about when the season ends? Like when weight's not an issue.
Weight's
What's
not
your
an
go-to
issue.
meal? Like what do you?
So, weight's not an issue. The first thing I'm doing, I'm getting a big old steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Steak, potatoes, and now that I'm old enough, probably gonna have a adult beverage of sorts. Like it's gonna be, I'm gonna feel good with it.
Kai, what's the hardest part about for you?
I would agree with that, actually. I think anybody can cut weight. I mean, for me, cutting weight's not that hard, but cutting weight and being happy and being pleasant around people is what's hard.
yeah.
My mom's rule in our house is you can only cut weight for as long as you're nice. Because I remember what was it? Like my freshman year, I weighed 150, and then at state, I wrestled 120.
Whoa,
And I remember on my cut down,
it's a fifth of your body weight going
yeah,
out the door.
I was cutting down, and I was out of shape though. I was really out of shape, and but like I was cutting down. I was at like 26, and I was going down to 20 for this one tournament, and then I had this list. I always make a list every year. Like I have a list of food that I really want to eat, and so I made the mistake of sharing that list with my sister. And she I don't know if she did it on purpose or what went on, but throughout the week she was slowly making everything on the list.
Ooh.
And my number,
It's on purpose.
it was torture. And
I've never heard this.
and my number one on the list was no bake cookies. Like I just wanted them so bad.
man.
Yeah.
And I came home from a particularly hard practice where my brother had just beat the snot out of me for like an hour and a half, like the whole time.
Yeah.
And I walk in and and then she's just in the kitchen making no bake cookies. And I lost it on her. It was mean. I really lost it on her. So she ended up being in tears. And I walked out the door fuming. And so I still had to cut weight. So I go in the hot tub and I'm sitting in the hot tub, and then my mom comes out angrier than I was. And then she's just like, you're done, no more, you're not cutting weight anymore. So then for the rest of the season, she had me jump up a weight. So that next tournament, I wanted to go 20, I had to wrestle 26, and then it was I had to stay 26. And then when I convinced her that I could go 20 and be nice, then I went 20. So just being a pleasant person, like he was talking about, cutting weight is
Which
the
sister,
hardest part.
by the way?
That was Elena.
Well,
But,
she's been on my show before.
yeah.
Okay, so what's your process after weigh-in? How do you rehydrate? What do you eat?
So normally I do a bagel with cream cheese, and I eat that, and then I have 2 to 3 oranges, and a bottle of water, and then liquid IV. Sometimes if I don't have liquid IV, it's always yellow Gatorade. I don't know why, just yellow. And then we'll do warm-ups, and then after warm-ups I'll have water, and then another orange, and honey stick. And then in between my matches, I'll do. We have this thing called what is it? Liquid Cell, which is this protein gel kind of stuff. And so I'll have a pack of that, and then either another orange or a honey stick in between every one, and have water throughout the day.
And then when season's over and you don't have to worry about weight anymore, what's your go-to?
I love diner food. It is amazing. Anything from a diner, pretty much.
Diner or dive bar? Fried stuff?
Yeah.
You like dive bar?
Sticky tables.
Yeah, sticky
Yeah,
table.
okay.
Yeah, Somerville Diner, the Cove Diner,
Somerville's got
anything
good
made in
pizza,
those
too.
places are just anything. I'll eat anything on the menu from there. And then you have just a milkshake. Milkshakes are probably my favorite.
Nice. What flavor?
I like chocolate peanut butter.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, let's wrap this up. Is there any? So let's talk about you're at Corbin this Sunday. They can watch it on. They can go to EOU's website, EOU Wrestling. Have you had some troubles with that this year, with streaming? It's finally catching on that people.
Oh, yeah, people are catching on. We're getting some trouble for it.
Yeah,
We're getting phone
I knew
calls.
it was going to happen eventually. I just
Yeah.
I've
I don't know how
noticed
they
this year.
I don't know why they just caught it. We've been doing it for 8 years.
Yeah.
And they're just now starting to.
I
hammer down
was
on us.
always like, why are they streaming this?
People are
thing?
starting to
Yeah.
like watching us, I guess, now, and so now they're going to start charging
Paying
them at other
attention.
schools, and yeah, not so much during tournaments. We'll still try to get them streamed, when it comes down to the finals and things like that. Probably not at the CCC, but at different tournaments we will do that. But yeah, they've been hammering down on us.
Yeah.
So-
Well, they can still watch you though. I mean, obviously,
most schools
through
now.
the website. You go to the stretch.
Some are
internet.
free, some are you got to pay for.
Yeah.
But I mean, it goes to a good cause. It goes to help the wrestling program for wherever it's at. So
Yeah.
join in, watch this battle.
And then, Chloe, you guys are at Research this weekend. That they don't televise that or stream that, do they? Just on Flow.
Yeah, I
Flow's
think
a
Flow, you
weird.
can probably get on there and watch that tournament. They'll have cameras on each match, I think, each mat, and so you could probably get on Flow and watch it. I'm almost positive, but
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Well, good luck this weekend. I'll be there. I'm excited for that.
that'll be fun.
And yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming. Wrestling Wednesdays. It's gonna come out on a Thursday though. It's out today, but we filmed it on a Wednesday. If you guys want in the future, if you guys want to see somebody on the show that outside of Clell and Dustin, just leave it in the comments or get a hold of me, and we'll get a hold of them and bring them on. We've done it with everybody from Verl Miller to what was the guy that was here with Verl?
Alex Nelson.
Alex Nelson. We've had Alex. I've had various wrestlers. I mean, everybody from Braden to Kyle to Blake McNall. So yeah, if you want to see somebody in the future, leave it in the comments or shoot me a message. Appreciate you guys.